I think one thing we should do is when we get to season 21, we should re-listen to these episodes.
Yeah.
Be like, oh my gosh, I can't believe that was us.
Rosa's cat's feet are so freaky. Hey, Maniacs.
Hey, Maniac.
You're already giggling. You can't even get the name of the podcast out? It's Midsomer Maniacs.
Midsomer Maniacs is a comedy recap podcast dedicated to the ITV series Midsomer Murders. Each week we dig into an episode of the show, including the murders, the mayhem, the loonies, and everything else we love. I'm Mark.
I'm Sarah.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 episodes, including this one left.
Can you insert a Wilhelm scream there, please?
Yes. We have 10 left.
No, blah, blah, blah. I can't hear you, la, la, la. It's hard to put fingers in your ears when you're wearing headphones, but I'll do it. I'm in denial. Anyhow.
This is a spoiler podcast. If you haven't seen this episode, go watch this episode. You can find it on Acorn.
This is season 21, episode 1, The Point of Balance.
The Point of Balance.
Which is the very first episode that we are now covering in full that we prior did a mini episode about 28 months ago.
December of 2019 in the before time.
We didn't even know what COVID was then.
Yeah, we didn't.
Nothing happened.
No, it was between episodes 20 and 21.
That's insane.
That feels like a million years ago.
It is a million years ago.
It's just, wow.
Before we dive in, just a quick reminder that if you go and you buy some Midsomer Maniacs swag, all the profits are going to go to the World Central Kitchen. And we're going to match those profits out of our very own pockets until the end of June. If there's a t-shirt that you want, now's the time to get it. You can make a difference.
Yep.
Anyhow.
Just a little warning. If you're a Canadian, don't listen to this podcast because you get killed in this episode. It's all Canadians die in this episode.
Look out. Oh, before we get started, I have a little Sarah's recommendation corner.
Oh, you do? Excellent.
Yes.
Okay, what are you recommending, Sarah?
We watched something really fantastic lately, and I think that people who like Midsomer would also like it.
Moon Knight? No.
No, that's completely different.
Okay, that's completely different.
It's a show called Annika.
Yes.
Annika,
yes.
I think.
Yes.
It stars Nicola Walker, who I most recently saw her in Unforgotten, but she's been in everything. You'll recognize her immediately. We saw it because it's on PBS. It was a masterpiece series, but I know it aired other places. So here's the reason why I want to recommend it to people who like Midsomer. When you first look at it, if you see like just the cover of it or whatever, it looks like some kind of Nordic noir super serious show, and it really isn't. It's
if you don't know Nordic noir, it's
Wallander.
It's Wallander.
It has no sense of humor.
Detectives with no sense of humor being really sad and terrible, horrible crimes.
Yes, this is not like that.
Yes.
One thing that I really, really like about it is that she's a single mom with a teenage daughter, and they get along.
Yep.
There's no drama between them.
No.
They're both doing their best. They laugh together.
Yep.
But I also like that Annika, the main character, does these asides to the camera.
Yes.
She talks to the camera.
She does what is called direct address.
Yes. And I really like it because she's so funny.
Yeah. I want her and Shetland to cross over.
Yes.
Because it has kind of the same feel to it.
Yeah.
And you know, they'd be good for each other.
But she's a detective who is in charge of a crew that investigates crimes on the water.
And she's Norwegian.
I think her family is Norwegian, but they're in Scotland.
Yeah, they're in Scotland.
And that's where she's
like really.
From. Yeah.
If they just get lost in the boat, they'll end up in Shetland.
But if you find it somewhere, give it a shot.
Yeah.
I think you'll like it if you like Midsomer.
I agree.
There's a first season, it's all out, and the second season has already been bought and paid for. They're definitely going to put out another one. So it's not one of those shows that you fall in love with and then find out they're not going to make any more of. So there's going to be at least one more season.
It's also a mystery, unlike a lot of shows now that are just like procedurals that are like, this incredibly horrible thing happened. Look at this person doing this incredibly horrible thing. There's no whodunit.
Yeah.
They're mysteries. These are mysteries.
Yeah. I'll also say on the side, if you happen to have Apple TV, Slough House is super good.
No, it's called Slow Horses.
Slow Horses, that's right.
Yeah.
That's the name of the first book. If you've read those books by Mick Herron, I really like them. I don't really like espionage books, but they're very character driven and all the characters are really awesome. And the plots are super good. And they're complicated and mysterious. And
I would say
it's fun.
It is
Slow Horses.
The younger, alcoholic, drug-addled brother of Tinker Tailor Soldier Spy.
Sort of.
Yeah.
Yeah. But the rejects. They're MI5 rejects.
With a little fun.
Yeah. So Annika, Slow Horses. Highly recommended.
Yep.
All right.
Okay.
That wraps up Sarah's recommendation corner for this week.
Okay. Point of balance. We did a mini episode in December 2019.
Yes, we did.
And we said that you were going to, this is one of the best things we've ever come up with, which is to watch the episode like a maniac.
Yes.
So
and we gave people 5 challenges.
We give you things to look for.
So that you too can watch like a maniac.
So the first one was, why are Rose's cat's feet so freaky?
Freaky cat feet.
Freaky. 3 signs that you're a nerd of Midsomer. Mm-hmm. We'll go over all the answers to these.
Oh, yeah.
A punny name for an Irish musical review. Mm-hmm. Which dancer is also an inspector? Mm-hmm. And finally, what kind of pajamas do middle-aged women wear?
In Midsomer. Yeah, those were our 5 things to look at if you wanted to watch like a maniac.
So hopefully, okay, we have to address this. Thank you all for listening and downloading the episodes. We are hitting numbers that we've never seen before.
Yeah.
Welcome
if you're new.
If you're new, welcome. And if you listened, if you did what we asked you and listened to the mini episode and then watched the episode and are now listening to this, you are our favorite people in the world.
Absolutely.
Can they come and live with us instead of all the children this summer? This episode was broadcast January 21st, 2020 in the UK. It was broadcast before that in the United States.
Which is why we could make a podcast in 2019 about it.
Filming
We're not time
was
travelers.
March and April 2019, 4.8 million views. Directed by Audrey Cook and written by Nick Hicks Beach.
So when this episode came out, it was interesting that the response about it was that it was a mashup between Strictly Come Dancing and Midsomer. Basically, that was kind of the way it was perceived by a lot of folks who had something to say about it. And there was positive responses to that and negative responses to that.
It's really not Strictly Come Dancing.
No, but it is like a dance competition. But all of the actors who dance in this episode are dancers. And a lot of them had been on Strictly. Okay, guess how many people, just actors, Midsomer and Strictly have in common?
Oh, now I've never seen Strictly.
Yeah, but you know the format, right?
No, it's very popular.
It's a competitive dance show where
it's super popular.
A celebrity and a professional dancer pair up.
And how many seasons have they had?
A million, 15, 20.
And they've had people like I think Johnny Vegas has been on that show.
Everybody, lots of people.
I'm going to go 8.
30.
30?
Yeah.
Wow.
30 people. And that's just actors.
Wow.
Right? I didn't just do a number it's not sound people who worked on both.
Stunt coordinator.
No, 30 people.
Script supervisor.
So when they cast for an episode like this Midsomer, they've got to look for people who have dance on their CV who have done some dance, right?
Yeah.
I mean, you can't do what they do in this episode if you've never danced before.
No.
You're not going to learn it like that, right?
Everybody, including that old guy who's with Barnaby.
Ned Barnaby. So there's all these dancers, but here's my favorite though. I was reading through some of the responses. How boring Nigel, and by Nigel they're referring to Nigel Havers, who plays Andrew Wilder, the patriarch of the Wilder family who has a helicopter. Nigel could have done it all from the comfort of his own home and escaped in the helicopter in a dramatic fashion, but no. And then another person replied to that one. It was Chief Inspector from Father Brown and his dreadful eyeliner. Because remember, we're a spoiler podcast. We're going to tell you exactly who did it. It was Ray in his eyeliner, and it was really sad.
It's really sad.
But I love the idea of Nigel, who is slowly becoming handicapped because of a condition that he has, but also owns a robotics company.
No, I think he's slowly going senile because he's working out in his business suit.
There is that. You do PT and what you got on. Like him, remote controlling robotic arms and just smashing people around.
We're going to get about the robots. Because there are some robots in that robot lab that are kids' toys.
Oh yeah, of course there are. They had to use what they could get.
Yeah.
Right. But there are also some actual industrial robots in there too.
There are some industrial robots.
They found some sources to borrow some stuff.
We'll get there. But they must have said, we're going to put blood on this. Or like corn syrup and dye. And the robot guy must have went, no.
Okay, we're just going to make your incredibly expensive and highly advanced product look like it could kill somebody. Is that okay?
No.
Okay. We're going to say somebody had a joystick and they did it. Is that okay? Yes.
No, I don't know. Where's craft services?
How much you going to pay us again?
Yeah.
Okay. You can whack somebody with our robot. It's all right. So this is the dance episode, which you should be familiar with,
The dance robot episode. Something
dancing
I
and
don't
robots.
think was ever said before.
What do you mean? There's robot dancing.
No, okay. There is robot dancing.
There's robots that dance now.
Yes.
And there's always been people who dance like robots since there have been robots.
But there's never been a Midsomer robot dancing episode.
No, there hasn't. It's quite the mashup. But you can't say that this is a village that is in one track, right? They do dance and robotics.
Yes.
And they're neurorobotics, right? They're roboticists who are developing things to help people who have some kind of disability.
Which is great.
I don't know what that giant arm is supposed to do for anybody other than kill your enemies.
Whack Canadians.
Yes. I don't think that big orange...
Canucks. Oh, sorry. Canucks.
Yeah. I don't think that big orange arm is going to be helping somebody get something from a high shelf anytime soon. Unless it's to whack them with it.
Okay. We start at the Paramount Dance Extravaganza.
Extravaganza. And you immediately go, what? Why is a robot company sponsoring a dance competition? What is the connection?
Well, we find out that it's Ray.
Yeah. So his dad is sponsoring a dance competition that he is in, though he doesn't support him dancing.
Yeah. Okay. Ray's father, though senile and though incredibly sad at the end, is the second worst human in this episode.
So this is the Wilder family, right?
Yes.
So it's Andrew Wilder and Lily Wilder, who is his second wife. We don't know what happened to his first wife.
Whacked by
a robot arm. And then Andrew has two children, Ray and Heather. And Heather is taking over the robot company. And Ray just wants to dance and be left alone and have his dad be proud.
And you know what? If he danced and was left alone and his father was proud, there would be nothing in this episode.
Yeah, I mean that would kind of undermine the whole thing.
Yeah.
You know, it's like if you inject cell phones into half the movies made within the last 30 years, it would undo the plot. So Ray Wilder, the dancing son of the roboticist, is the answer to one of our main Watch Like a Maniac challenges. We said which dancer is also an inspector.
Yes.
And that is Ray Wilder, played by Tom Chambers. Yes. Who is also Inspector Sullivan in Father Brown.
Yes. He's in 2 seasons of Father Brown.
Mm-hmm. He was the original inspector.
He's actually the one I like the best.
I like him a lot. I don't know. I like them both.
And especially the episode where he's on the run from the law is a very good episode.
And Tom Chambers, the actor, won the 6th season of Strictly Come Dancing in 2004.
Well, I can tell why. He knows how to dance.
He's an extremely good dancer.
Clearly he knows
When he's stretching in the studio in front of Barnaby, I was like, oh, so not only can he touch his toes, but he can touch his toes with his legs pretty far apart, so he can probably do the splits. I'm like, don't try it. Don't try it, Barnaby. Don't try it.
Like Barnaby did okay kicking the rugby ball into the uprights, but he's not a dancer.
No.
But there's a great picture.
I don't think Neil Dudgeon is a dancer.
Him dancing. Yeah.
So we've got the dance competition that's going to go on for 4 days.
I think so.
They say it's a 4-day competition.
You would think that if it were a 4-day competition, they wouldn't just tape the sign on the podium. You could see the tape. I have always supported the people who do the production of this show.
Yeah.
But they missed the tape.
They phoned that one in.
They phoned that one in.
The tape's visible.
Yeah.
So the idea, I guess, is that each night they're going to dance a different style of dance, and they're judges that are going to score them. And then at the end, there's going to be a winning couple who are going to get a trophy.
But really, the competition is how many Canadians can you kill before the end of the episode?
There is that. There is that. So the Canadians are Rosa Corrigan.
Did you notice that in the subtitles it said, "I'm done" in a Canadian accent?
No, I didn't notice
like,
that.
How do you say, if you don't know already, if you're new to the Midsomer Maniacs, I'm Canadian.
Yes.
So
he's a little touchy about
a little
Canadian
touchy
stuff.
about. So I'm like, I wonder how I say "I'm done." That's different. I'm done.
I'm done.
I'm done, eh?
A hoser.
Hoser.
They don't even put the a hoser in the subtitles because it's implied that there's an a hoser. So there's Rosa and her brother Duncan. They are the Canadians.
Yep.
Who apparently were raised in England, though they then went to Canada. Because Duncan later says he was raised in that house. So I would assume that
By his grandma? Because man,
No.
that is an old lady house.
their parents had a fuddy-dud house.
Wow. And he just lives in it.
Yeah. Rosa dies right away.
Oh, right away. Absolutely right away. And we don't know how.
No, but she's got tull in her mouth.
Yes.
Tull, tulle, however you want to say it. It's that scrunchy kind of plasticky netty fabric that's usually underneath a skirt to make it poof out.
Now.
It's what tutus are made out of.
We're not going to go. We need a new name for this because we're not going to go to Greenland. We're going to go. I guess we're going to go to Nashville.
Okay.
Because the theme is not only different in this episode, it is in a different time signature.
I noticed. Okay, so I'm not musical.
Yeah.
It just sounded different to me.
So it is in a waltz time signature, which is 3/4 time, which is da 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 da.
What is it usually?
In 4/4, which is da 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 da.
Okay, I can hear the difference.
Yeah.
It took me a second.
So I noticed that right away. And the guy who does the music for Midsomer is now standing up and clapping because somebody
noticed. Somebody noticed. So if you want the dance version of the Midsomer theme, this is it.
Yeah.
Because you can waltz to it.
You can waltz to this.
It's got a good beat and I can waltz to it.
I listened a couple of times just to make sure and counted, clapped it out and everything.
That explains a lot about what you were doing when you were watching it. In their club in your hands. Like, they can't hear you. They don't know you're applauding.
Rosa Corrigan, 37. Do they usually give the age of people?
Yeah.
I don't know if they
Sometimes.
do. I noticed it.
I don't know. They did this time. In the real world, they do. So
Yes.
it makes sense.
Is this a burglary? No. Paso Doble is mentioned here. Do you know what that is?
It's a type of dance.
Yes, it's a fast-paced Spanish military march. So it's a march, which is in 4/4 or sometimes 6/8 time. Okay. Mm-hmm. But it's double, so they do 120 steps per minute.
It's fast.
Which-
It's that with the toes going.
Yeah,
right?
it's fast.
Is it supposed to be kind of like a bullfight?
No, it's not that fast.
Okay.
But 120 step as per minute is like a
2
rock
steps
song.
a second.
It's
fast.
It's a rockin' song.
Yeah. So Rosa is also a dancer, but not competing in this competition because her partner got deported.
Yes. Well, okay. You got to be careful with your gender roles here. Mm-hmm. Do you remember Fleur talks about gender roles to Barnaby?
Yeah.
I was like, yeah, we haven't had that discussion on this show before.
No. But her partner, Alexei,
Yes.
was Russian.
Mom, I got a part. I'm a deported Russian dancer.
He flies back from New York City and somebody has called the immigration services on him. Now, wouldn't like going through customs and stuff kind of flag him anyway?
I guess. Why would he get flagged?
I mean, I would think if he was illegally in the UK, that just coming back would have done that.
There are some things in this episode where you shake your hands in front of your eyes and go, oh, okay, that's how it works.
Sure, for right now.
Yeah,
Let's pretend.
Certainly anything to do with a computer in this episode is
so
like...
because he got deported, Rosa can't compete, so she's bitter. She came to show her support, but not really, and now she's going to go, and she leaves, and then she gets killed in her house.
Yes. And her cat finds her.
Her cat finds her. And this is another of our Watch Like a Maniac because Rose's cat has freaky feet.
Yes. How are they freaky?
Well, according to my notes, the first time I watched it, the reason why her feet are freaky, the cat's feet are freaky, is that when we see the footprints on the ground that she's made, I assume it's a she cat. It could be a he cat. I don't know. The cat has come in the cat door and made footprints on the floor. They're so close together that the cat could not have been walking. It's almost as if two cats were walking in lockstep right behind each other. There's no distance for the stride of the cat.
Oh, okay.
Or the cat walked into the house normal, leaving prints, saw her dead, and then tried to backtrack the same way, but missed its own footsteps. I mean, there's just too many paw prints.
But Winter uses them to show that it's not a robbery.
Right, because then the robber would have also left footprints since it had rained and was muddy outside, but they didn't, so they must have come in the front door. The burglary is a fake out.
How do you know someone's Canadian, Sarah?
They say a hoser.
They got some flannel on.
Flannel, oh.
Duncan, with his little mustache, is Canadian.
Now, we have to separate now.
Yeah.
It has to be pressed flannel.
Yes.
Because if it's not, they could just be from Seattle. It could be grungy.
It could be.
But if it's well-maintained flannel, they're Canadian.
Especially if it's red.
And he's got a mustache.
Yeah.
That makes him Canadian, too.
If you didn't know, all Canadian children are born with a beard and they have to be shaved when they're born. So.
And flannel shirts.
Yes.
They swaddle them in flannel to welcome them to their homeland. And a moose licks their face.
Now, this guy...
They dip them in maple syrup.
Pretty much. That's how I remember
I just sussed it all out, didn't I? Now I know the secret.
Yep.
The secret initiation for Canadian babies.
This dude, this cat's an interesting cat.
Mm-hmm.
Duncan. He says some stuff about his sister and that he lost his leg. First of all, he is an actor without a leg.
Yes.
And he lost that leg in Afghanistan.
Yes. You want to talk about him?
Yeah, let's talk.
His name's Cassidy Little is the actor's name. And everything I learned about him made me more impressed with him.
He's super cool.
He's incredible. He really did lose his leg in Afghanistan.
You're
in 2011.
You're burying the lead.
What?
He's Canadian. He is actually Canadian.
He was born in Newfoundland.
Yeah.
I guess I should start at the beginning.
Yes.
The life of Cassidy Little.
And he came to the UK to be a comedian.
Born in Newfoundland.
And joined the military.
Wait. Do it in order.
Okay.
Born in Newfoundland.
Okay, born in Newfoundland.
With his little beard.
Yes.
And his flannel
Maple
swaddle.
syrup.
Dipped in maple syrup. Licked by a moose and had his beard shaved. And then he grew up and came to the UK where he trained as a ballet dancer.
Yes.
And was quite accomplished until he suffered an injury that meant he couldn't dance anymore. So what does he do? He joins the Marines, the Royal Marines, as a medic.
Yep.
And he goes to Afghanistan. And in 2011, he and his team were tasked with sort of putting their heads above the parapet, more or less. Basically, they had to go out and sort of be seen by some insurgents so that some other Marines could sort of sneak around. And that was a really risky thing to do. They did it, of course. And many of the people who were in his team were killed when they stepped on an IED that had been buried there months ago.
Yep.
His leg was blown off below the knee. It was basically amputated immediately.
Yep.
Right? It wasn't just injured and they had to amputate it. It basically was amputated. But he also fractured his pelvis and his skull and was in an induced coma for over a week when they flew him back.
He is a war hero.
He went through all kinds of PT and rehabilitation. And when he was done with that, he was like, well, now what am I going to do? Oh, I know. I'll be a comedian and an actor.
Yep.
And that's what he's been doing. And he does a ton of stuff for charity and Poppy Day and Veterans Associations and all kinds of stuff.
Yeah, he was
all
the official
cool
face of Royal Legion's Remembrance Day campaign one year.
Yeah. But when you think that 8 years before this episode was filmed, he was in Afghanistan.
Yeah. So like...
And now he's on Midsomer. The dude has hustle.
And I'm not saying he suffers from PTSD, but he knew what he was doing in that scene.
The interview that I saw with him, he was really transparent about that he had thought long and hard about whether he would play this part because he was kind of torn about sort of recreating that PTSD moment he has when the helicopter goes over. Because he didn't want to be seen to be acting as if he had it, thereby demeaning people who actually have it.
Yeah.
But what he decided was that he needed to do a really good job.
And he did.
So that people understood that that's what it can be like. And unfortunately, Jake is a psychopathic crazy man. But the relationship they have in that moment where a fellow soldier comforts him, brings him back, sort of assures him that he's safe and helps him kind of overcome that. That to him was an important scene too, that he had that realism. But when he tells the story to Barnaby and Winter about how he lost his leg, he's basically just telling what actually happened to him.
Yeah, absolutely.
The character's story is very close to the
Guy's a
actor's
hero.
story.
He's a great actor. He does a great job here.
He did a great job.
I think that
He's got a really great mustache.
he does.
It's a thick, lustrous mustache.
He does. He'd be a Montreal policeman if he lived in Canada still.
No, he'd be Newfie. His sister has died, and that's so sad, you
They
know?
do a
'Cause
really good job
They
of-
relied on each other.
When he says, "Can I get her stuff?"
Yeah.
He does a really good job of acting. Like, I don't know. Can I get her stuff?
Yeah, I didn't suspect that he was asking for nefarious reasons.
No, I didn't think so either.
You know, I'm convinced.
But I thought it was good acting there, and it's just a shame he has to live amongst the spoons and plates on the wall.
Maybe it's comforting. It's where he grew up.
Maybe. I don't know.
He said he was going to change it. He had some money put aside to do it, and he was going to do that.
Or he's a dancer.
And we know from Escape to the Country that house, that cottage is probably worth, $5 billion. So,
Yes.
He's got a good investment there. Among the suspects for Rosa is Tanya.
Tanya and Anton run a dance school. And
Tanya Brzezinski.
And they are part of this.
Because Tanya is her dance nemesis.
Yes.
And Anton is Tanya's partner. And Anton, everything about him, from his fake tan to his colored contacts, whatever else he's got on, the tank top that doesn't quite cover his nipples is like, I am a lounge lizard dancer.
I thought you were going to say it was a useless character that didn't need to be in the episode.
There is that.
Okay. So they talked to Tanya, and she's given her alibi speech.
Yeah.
And it's like, I went home. And then she gives us a gem.
She says, I just got tucked into bed in my Winciat Jimjams.
Jimjams.
I love Jimjams. I like Jimjams so much more than pajamas.
Yes.
Though they're both
So that's
fun
what
words.
she called her pajamas, which is what we were making reference to in the episode. But
When
Jimjams is fantastic.
When we said, what do middle-aged women in Midsomer wear to bed? It is Winciat Jimjams. Do you know what Winciat is?
No.
It's a kind of flannel that's a thinner flannel. So traditionally, if you said, you've got Winciat pajamas, the stereotype would either be a nightgown that comes all the way up to your throat, all the way down to your wrists, all the way down to your ankles, or it's the kind of pajamas that have like a button-up top and pants.
Yeah.
Very traditional, conservative pajamas.
Jimjams.
So she's basically saying, when I get home, I act like an old lady. Aren't you disappointed in me? While we're here at the dance studio, though, and Anton's barking at old people about their posture, which just seems cruel to me, would you like to take a quiz?
Sure. I'm up for any sort of quiz.
I don't have any horrible movies for this episode.
So we got a quiz.
So we got a quiz instead.
Excellent.
Because we're learning so much about dancing.
Okay, what do we do? Is a dance quiz? Is this an active quiz?
No, because this is an audio format.
Okay. Oh, yeah.
And if you danced, nobody would see it.
Even
but
if
me.
you watch her YouTube videos.
No, instead, like Paso Doble. So since this episode is all themed around dancing and we hear lots of dance terminology, I thought I would see how up on your dance terminology you are.
Oh, okay.
So what I have is a list of 10 items. They're dance terms, most of them kinds of dances.
Okay.
Some of them are real, some of them are fake.
Okay.
Are you ready?
Hit me.
The term is Jack Palance.
Okay.
It's the Cockney rhyming slang used to substitute for the word dance.
Okay, so Jack Palance
Is an actor.
is an actor.
But is he Cockney rhyming slang for dance? Go out there and show me your best Jack Palance.
I'm going to go no.
Yes.
Oh!
You got the first one wrong. Oh, I'm feeling optimistic here.
Oh for 1.
Woohoo! All right, the next one is Krumping.
Krumping.
Loosely based on a slightly softer version of a similar dance called clowning, which came out of Compton in the early 1990s. Krumping.
Krumping. So it's straight out of Compton.
Yep, and it's a tougher version of clowning.
Now, so I'm not familiar with my West Coast hip hop dances as I am my East Coast hip hop dancing.
Oh, is that the
or my
difference?
Atlanta hip hop dancing.
Okay.
I'm gonna go fake because you think that I'm gonna think it's real.
It's real.
Oh my gosh, folks!
It's the hardcore version of clowning. Krumping.
Krumping. Okay.
Woo-woo.
0 for 2.
2 for 2 from me. All right. Here's your next term. Suicides. A way to end a hip hop routine where the dancers pretend to lose control and then drop dead. The more realistic, the better.
That's true.
It is true.
Yeah. I remember that. I think I actually remember that from breakdancing to Electric Boogaloo.
They were like, oh, you did a good suicide there at the end.
I think that's maybe where I learned that from.
Wow. I've got a mix of eras here.
Okay.
So this.
So I'm 2 for 1.
You are 1 for 3.
1 for 33%, folks.
Yes. This is a dance craze from the 20s and 30s. I'm going to tell you the name of it last. Okay. It's a kind of like a line dance, like for a crowd, like at a party, where the dancers have to follow the steps that are called out by the announcer or the MC or whatever.
Okay.
The calling gets faster until dancers fail to keep up. And when they do, the surviving dancers and MC shout, "Moron!" and point at them, and then continue to dance when the next step is called. And the dance is called the moron. So if you don't keep up, if you don't do the right step or you fall down, everybody pauses, points at you and says, "Moron!" and then goes back to dancing.
How can that be a dance?
It's a party dance, you know?
No, that's...
It's like square dancing, like you do what the MC tells you to do.
It's like fake dancing. It's fakety fake.
You are correct. That one is fake. I made that one up. Though I think it's fun.
Moron.
Moron! And then you dance. All right. The next dance is called Ghost Ride the Whip. And this is to dance while riding or near a moving vehicle.
Okay.
Ghost Ride the Whip. Real or fake?
I'm going to go real, though I've never heard of it.
It is real. Why did you guess it was real?
Is it this silly thing that people do when they get out of their car and while it's still going and dance outside their car?
Or stand up in a convertible and dance?
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay. Morons in cars dancing.
All right, here's your next one. You are 3 for 5 at this moment. The Badger Trot, a version of the Foxtrot set to slower music with more subdued foot motions, easier to do than the Foxtrot.
Okay.
Badger Trot.
The Foxtrot has to be hard to do. But badgers are so all over this show. I'm going to go true.
Fake. I made it up.
You fooled me twice.
You are
you fooled me once.
You are 4 for 6. I fooled you twice.
4 for 6.
I fooled you with Jack Palance and with Krumping.
Yes.
All right. The whip and the nay-nay. The whip is shoulder-to-shoulder swaying with one arm up. Oh, I'm sorry. That's the nay-nay part. Then you lower your arm, and that's the whip. The whip and the nay-nay. He's doing the whip and nay-nay right now.
No, it's not a dance.
It is.
Oh, God.
It's true. And it's recent. It's like from 2 years ago.
Well, okay.
Aren't you out of touch?
I don't know if I'm going to get to 50% here.
The next dance is called Dip the Bill. It's a novelty dance from the 20s where dancers form a circle and alternated, quote unquote, slapping the bottom of the person in front of them, then spinning and shuffling the other direction. Because a dip is slang for pickpocket and bill is slang for police. So it was a dance you did in a circle where you pretended to pick the pocket of the person in front of you and then run away. And then they spun around and did it again.
To touch bottoms.
Pretty much.
That's true.
It's fake.
Oh.
I made it up. I was kind of proud of that one. I'm getting better at this.
That's super good.
All right. The next one is called the Hula. Hoola.
Not Hula.
No.
Hulu.
It's a Hawaiian hula dancing hip move, but with jazz hands on either side of your face. like kind of like Big Eyes. It's from the 1950s.
Yes, that's
so it's
true.
like an owl
Yeah,
hula dance.
Yeah, that's true.
No, I made that up.
Oh,
You were so confident.
folks, I don't know my dancing.
People
terms.
did stupid dances in the 50s. That one's probably true. All right. Get Your Swerve On, the 1940s version of Bust a Move.
No, that makes no sense at all.
It's real.
Oh,
You're bombing. So instead of being like, just bust a move, it's like, just get your swerve on.
I guess. Wow.
Man, you've only got 4 right and you've only got 1 to go. The last one is called The Stanky Leg.
Oh, that's fake.
Stankylegg. It involves moving your leg in like a shaky circular motion. It's called The Stanky Leg.
That's fake.
It's real.
Oh,
You are so out of touch. And I invent good dances, apparently.
apparently.
You can do the hula. Hoo, hoo.
You moron.
Moron. You fell for Badger Trot, too.
Yep.
Man, I'm proud of myself today. I'm going to go put on my Jimjams and do a little dance.
Rosa does a pretty good D&B in the autopsy room.
You know, I'm more impressed with her when she has the tulle in her mouth because that stuff is kind of light.
Yeah.
And if she was breathing too hard,
Yeah,
it would move.
that's
And
true.
it doesn't. She
Yeah.
does a great job there. She does a good job on the slab.
Winters reads an article about the robot lady, and it's straight out of the dialogue.
Well, that's after looking through Rosa's laptop to see what her other stories lately have been about,
Yes.
including the chili eating contest,
Yes.
the amateur speed camera success,
Yes.
and the car park appeal, which has 2 folders, January and March,
Yes.
and the Midsomer June elections.
Yes.
Why has there never been an election episode of Midsomer? But I was more intrigued with the amateur speed camera
Yeah,
success.
I don't know what that means.
What that is it's a reference to this thing that happened in, I guess, just in England in the 2010s, where people in villages and towns were given permission to run their own speed cameras and hand out tickets.
Oh.
So places where they were kind of underfunded for police, yeah, just citizens could do it. Here's the headline. Motorists will face amateur speed traps run by local volunteer groups in towns and villages across the country.
Oh, that's interesting. I didn't know they did that.
As far as I know, it didn't last.
Oh, I can imagine it was problematic.
Now, it may still be in place in some places, but countrywide, it was not maintained. It did not go well. But apparently in Midsomer, they had a little success for a little while.
Let's go to the robot lab.
Yeah.
There's a wee little robot. There's a couple of them, little toy robots. It's
And-
like we're robots people, so we have little toy robots.
And lots of circuit boards and like plastic face robot
There's
things.
a nurse robot there too.
Yeah.
That's kind of. But how do you know you're a geek in Midsomer?
Well, all
That's-
we've got to
that's-
do is look at Warren's desk.
Warren, don't you mean Richard?
Warren Cunningham, who's also Tanya's son,
Yes.
who seems to be the chief programmer of this place, is played by Luke Pierre.
Yes.
But as far as I'm concerned, he's low-cost Richard Iowati.
Yes.
He looks
Like?
so much like Richard Iowati. If you're not
Except
familiar,
Richard Iowati's hair has its own character.
yeah, it's much bigger.
Yeah.
Yeah, when it's right, it's much bigger. If you
And
don't know who Richard Iowati is, he was in this show called The IT Crowd. So I think they probably wanted Richard Iowati and they got Luke Pierre instead.
But how can you tell he's a geek?
Well, they have to tell us, right?
Yeah.
They have to scream it at us.
Yep.
Hey, this person is a nerd.
Yes.
By the way, if you hadn't noticed, he's a programmer and he's a nerd. And he's a nerd because he drinks energy drinks all the time.
Yes.
And he has Rubik's Cubes on his desk.
Yes.
And what else?
He also has a Terminator figure on their desk. Now,
That's tasteless in a robot factory, isn't it?
yeah, I would think so.
Or is it foreshadowing?
Foreshadowing. He also has a display of sonic screwdrivers from Doctor Who.
Oh,
There's like 10 of them. It's a very nice display.
that's pretty serious, though.
And he's got some seriously different Rubik's Cubes too, but he also has glasses because geeks wear glasses. We've mentioned that Jake is the worst human being on the planet,
He is.
but he says something here that annoys the crap out of me.
When he walks into Heather's office
Yes.
and doesn't see John standing there.
No, he says, I didn't know you were busy.
in your glass office
talking to somebody else.
where you were talking to someone.
What is the definition of busy?
Who I could clearly see you were talking to. It's like they wrote the script before they had the set, and then they didn't change it.
I didn't know you were busy. How could you not know she was busy?
How could he not know? I didn't know you had company. Are you blind? No, he's nosy, and he's a psychopath. That's why he doesn't care. He just tells a lie.
And we find out that Duncan is guinea pigging there.
Yeah, he's getting tested for different kinds of new prosthetics that they're building, but none of which are robotic.
Yes.
He doesn't have a robot leg.
No.
He doesn't have a leg that like walks for him.
But they do have some prosthetics in the background. So.
Oh, okay.
Yep.
So the joints they're making for the robots, they also put in prosthetics.
And then we learn that Rachel is Andrew's nurse.
Yes.
And she's a crap nurse.
Why do you say that?
Because maybe his brain's packing it in because she's making him work out in a suit. Later on, when he's on the treadmill, he's got like sweats on and everything.
Yeah.
But then it's weird that he's in a suit. And then he says his little...
Well, he is getting ready to hop in a helicopter and fly away like a very important businessman.
Mom, I got a part. What part did you get? I walk an invalid to a helicopter.
Yes. I look important.
Second helicopter shot.
I get to fly
Midsomer.
away in a helicopter too.
Yeah.
So Nigel is played by, I'm sorry, his name's Andrew. The actor's name is Nigel.
Yes.
Nigel Havers. He's been in tons of things.
Yes.
I think the first place I saw him was in a show called Man-Child. He says something about Ray. So Ray's his son, and obviously his dad is very successful as a businessman. He's the king of the high street, right?
Yes.
Which means retail.
Yep.
And he says that he spent his career just selling schmutter.
Schmutter.
Do you know what schmutter is?
No, what is schmutter?
It's Yiddish for clothes or garbage.
Is it like trashy clothes?
Cheap clothes, I guess.
Maybe. Okay.
So it's like, I think it's related to schmutz, right? Schmutz is like some dirt. But I love when John takes Lily outside to talk to her about the murder. And she says, why would I kill her? It's inelegant.
Yes.
I don't think of all of the choices she had, why she would choose Duncan or why Duncan would choose her.
Because it's a subplot.
It is. It's a subplot that's kind of unimportant.
So she can be sad.
Yeah.
And walk past the weirdest pictures that we'll get to.
They're not weird. They're awesome. You may as well talk about them.
Yeah, okay.
The Wilder house that Andrew and Lily live in is beautiful. It's incredible.
Yep.
It does have
has some great artwork on it.
It has some amazing sculptures in the garden that are
There's a ball made of
triangles.
plain triangles.
Yeah.
And there's a big red elk.
Yeah.
But the pictures on the stairway, I recognized the one that you don't see as closely, and I couldn't figure out where it was from. And then when I showed you,
it clicked for both of us.
It clicked for both of us. So they're Dan Hillier photo collages.
They're prints of his work, of Dan Hillier, Hillier. He does these kind of lithographic type of, they almost look like they're made from Victorian wood, like lithograph cuts or something. But the one you see really clearly looks like a print of an old-timey Victorian guy, but his face is sliced and repeated over and over again in this weird way. I love them. I think they're super cool.
And he did the record cover for Royal Blood's record, Royal Blood.
Yeah, yeah. I think I don't know if those are already in the house when they rent it to shoot there or what, but I get the impression that we're supposed to think that Andrew and Lily are current people, that they're not antique people, that they have taste and wealth, right? Then we get the scene we were talking about with Ray and John in the dance studio.
The touching scene.
And Ray, so Ray is a good dancer, right? He's not an idiot trying to do something he can't do.
No. He is the star of the show.
Yeah. His dad isn't supportive of him because his dad is a businessman and thinks that he should be too.
Yes.
And instead, he's pursuing a career in dancing, which his dad doesn't see as being as worthy. But you got to give him credit because Ray is actually a good dancer. And I think it would be different if we were talking about the siblings in the Relish episode where the one sister's trying to write a cookbook on a novel and is clearly sucky at both of them. Ray Ray's actually a good dancer.
So what you're saying is this episode is about a disastrous relationship between a father and son revolving around one of the son's abilities to do his job or not. And the other father-son relationship is Andrew and Ray.
Yes. Yeah, because we've hardly even mentioned that Ned Barnaby, John's dad, is in this episode. And when Ray says your point of balance is different than your center of gravity, your center of gravity is based on your position currently, but your point of balance is this tipping point where if you go past it, you stumble. And in reality, that's all just made up junk because there's no difference between your point of balance and your center of gravity. They are interchangeably used terms. So as expert as he sounds explaining that, I could not find a single source that said there was any difference between those two terms. They are used interchangeably, even in dance.
Oh.
So he sounds really knowledgeable, but he's full of it.
Okay.
But he does almost shove Barnaby down, which is kind of funny.
He does. They go and talk to Tanya again, and I am like, what is going on in this scene? Because it's in a room full of posters. So
well, she's in a changing room. She's in a green room, right?
Yeah.
Before the dance competition. So we've got costumes and we've got posters from old shows that are decorating it. And this is where we get another Watch Like a Maniac.
Including a poster for a review called It's All Blarney.
It's all blarney. There's 4-leaf clovers on it, you know.
Yes.
It's green and white and it's about dancing in Ireland. It's all blarney.
Then there's another poster.
We cannot do that accent. We shouldn't do that ever again.
Never do that again. I can barely do the Canadian accent. There's another poster from a show called When We Were Married that has a priest on it. One that says or burn. I don't know what it has.
Is When We Were Married a real show?
No.
Oh, okay.
Can't find any of these. And then Hindu sword
Swallowers.
I would assume swallowers.
What do you think about Ray's LED light bulb deal in China?
I think it's thrown in to make him even more sad at the end.
I think he's not a good businessman.
No.
He's like, Dad, I can buy these cheap, a lot cheaper than we can sell them. Okay, that's great. You've sourced one object for sale.
Yes.
Those LED light bulbs.
He's just not good.
That is not... I mean, his dad's hard on him and says, like, come talk to me when you've made 20 deals, not one deal. But, like, does Ray really think that buying these LED light bulbs at a discount is a business?
I just wish they had... Like, I wish the subplot with Ray and business was, I want to open up another dance studio.
Yeah.
Like, that's something I love.
And that he would probably be successful
and this one's doing great. I want to franchise it and open another one.
Yeah.
Like that is actually going to get respect from his father too.
Maybe.
His
dad might accept that he was capable of doing that.
So then we have the helicopter PTSD scene, which on the first watching is tender.
Yeah.
And sad. And Duncan does a great job of being a person with PTSD. It's filmed really well.
And Jake does a good job of,
calming him
as a
down.
fellow soldier who understands, comforting him.
But then when you watch it a second time, you realize that Jake is the worst person in the entire world because Jake believes his own crap.
Yeah. So explain what you think there.
So Jake is not a soldier.
No.
He's never been a soldier. He's a con man. Mm-hmm. He's conned rich widows out of money. Mm-hmm. That's what he's done.
The whole story of him being in Afghanistan is not true.
He is what is called a walt.
Yeah, so he's comforting a fellow soldier when he's not a soldier.
He's never been a soldier. Never been in Afghanistan.
Taking advantage of Duncan, really. I mean, he does help him, whether he does it based on real experience or not. He helps him in the moment. But wow, what a liar.
Yeah. Just horrible.
Like, if you had a conscience, that moment would make you think, I have to stop doing this.
Yes.
Because this is what it really looks like to have gone to war.
Yeah.
Not what I'm pretending to be.
Yeah.
But he doesn't have a conscience because he's a psychopath. So he uses it to his advantage to convince everybody else that his story's real, right? It's one more piece of evidence.
The only story that's less real is the Rachel's being watched. Why
anything that touches Anton is a stupid subplot.
Why is that?
Why
subplot?
does Rachel?
Yeah.
The only thing I can think of is that because when she admits to Ray that it's not real, that Anton was hassling her, but that the camera and the photos and the blackmail letters aren't real, is that it's another opportunity for us to see that he's a genuine real person.
Because Ray does the right thing, which is...
understands why she did it.
I totally understand, and those feelings are legitimate, and not, but you were wrong. He doesn't have to prove that he's right to her.
No.
He just says, I understand why you did that, and I still love you.
Yeah.
Kissy, kissy.
Here's what I don't understand about that subplot.
He doesn't really share there, like, I've killed 2 people.
No. Because he's only killed 1 at that moment. But here's what I don't understand about that subplot. What does Jake have to do with it? Why does he go and threaten Anton to tell him to stop?
There's no moment where
I don't
Ray
even know how he
him,
knows.
I don't know either. It's weird.
Unless it's just another opportunity for Jake to be a psychopath in camo and pretend to be a soldier.
Maybe.
And threaten this guy who's like 18 inches shorter than he is.
I do love that Ray's like, yeah, I went and told him off.
Yeah.
And you're like, no, you didn't.
No, because Ray's like, you don't do it, okay? Jeez. I mean it. All right? Oh. Meanwhile, Jake's like, I'm going to rip your throat out and crush your feet. Okay. Poor Anton's like, my shoes are so shiny. What are you doing to them? You kind of feel it when he puts just his foot down on his foot when he's leaving. It kind of rolls his ankle and you can almost feel the crunch.
I don't. Why is Anton even in this episode? He doesn't need to be there.
I don't know.
Mom, I got a part. I take the stuff to the Canuck boy. Like, that's all he does. He drops it off.
Yeah, he drops Rose's stuff off to Duncan.
And Duncan goes, thanks.
Wow,
In
that
another
was a
completely unrelated subplot, the robot's place is hacked.
Yeah, because, everything is networked and runs on the same software or something.
Well, if you go to a computer and hit it with your hands, it means you're typing in code.
Who does it?
I don't.
Who hacks it?
Well, no. Remember, Warren downloads the bad code. The fact that Warren is in a desperate situation and he downloads bad code to try to solve the problem is the most realistic thing about this episode.
Because he's under a tight deadline that's really important.
And
he looks for a solution that somebody else has come up with, and it turns out to be...
And in a precursor to what happens at the end of the episode, poor frickin' Heather gets whammoed by a robot.
It just clunks her.
Whammo!
It looks painful.
Yeah.
Then let's talk about Duncan's ability to run away.
Oh, okay.
He's a soldier.
Yeah.
He understands strategy.
Yes.
Why does he climb in a glass box to hide?
I don't understand.
I don't get it. Let me choose a dead end surrounded by glass to hide from somebody who's chasing me.
Yeah.
It's the worst place. He would have had a better chance just laying on the floor in the middle of the room and hoping that the killer didn't see him.
And he is a person who has a prosthetic leg. In the rest of the episode, we never see him limping or having trouble getting around.
Nope.
But the moment he's chased...
He's slowed down by his leg.
If they had put in there something about maybe he had a PTSD, because like that being hunted and looking around things and, that moment
it would
of
discombobulate you and you might not make good decisions.
But that was not implied. And,
no.
Okay, as we have covered... Ray is not an intimidating person.
I mean, let's face it. It's not like he's got a big gun or anything. He's just chasing Duncan.
Yeah.
Why is Duncan even running from him?
Why does Duncan not just go, what?
No, I'm not going to let you kill me.
Yeah.
I will fight you because I know how to and you don't. What are you going to do? Samba me to death? Yeah. Let's go. That's what Duncan would do.
Yeah.
But instead, he runs from him and hides in a glass box.
And gets attacked by a robot.
With a joystick.
Whammo. How does Ray... Okay, Ray is a wonderful, warm human being for a killer who's understanding with his soon-to-be girlfriend for their conjugal visits to the prison. I do not believe that he could intimidate Duncan.
No.
I do not believe he could use the joystick the very first time to wham the robot against somebody.
He's got a better chance since Duncan has already got down to kind of try to hide. So he's not like shucking and jiving in there.
But he should have taken a couple of whacks at first.
We don't know that he didn't.
Maybe.
But at least one of them landed, and it landed good.
Oh, whammo.
Man.
There's a nice cut there.
Duncan's head against the glass with the jelly everywhere. Wow.
That's a lot of blood.
That's a real smackola there.
And Fleur's like, I know exactly when he died.
Yeah, because he put his arm up.
Because his arm was probably broken, at least like
where it hit
maybe
him.
broken off.
Yeah, or at least the bones were
Because
snapped.
those robots are
Strong.
super strong.
Yeah. So this whole thing is because Duncan has a photo of the Wilder family posing at a gala that shows Jake in his military uniform.
But Barnaby's
right?
more interested in his doodles.
No, because it says Walt.
Walt!
Right? So that's what Ray is trying to find because Jake wants to find it, right? So that's why Duncan has to go down because they think he must have it. That's why they've gone through all of Rosa's stuff. But it turns out that the photo that they're looking for is in Jake's leg.
Yes.
He's hidden it in his prosthetic.
Warren feels all guilty about this and does the best Warren scenes.
He does.
He does the crying scene with Mom, I've got a polo shirt.
Yeah. When he's sitting in the car crying.
And then the pub scene where he kind of admits.
He confesses.
Yeah.
But it's not his fault.
No.
Yeah. Pseudo Iolati does pretty good in that scene. Do you want to know about other things that have been hidden in prosthetics? Because a photograph is like the tamest thing ever. So Duncan has the photo hidden in his leg. So when they get him on the
Fleur
slab.
finds that.
So Fleur finds it, right?
And Barnaby goes to move it. And she's like,
No. She's always priceless.
No touchy the dead pokes there, Barnaby.
So a photo is a strange thing to keep in your prosthetic, but it is the least of the strange things to be kept in a prosthetic in the real world. Are you ready for this?
Okay.
These are all real, okay? Now, I'm sure you can imagine a lot of drugs have been smuggled in prosthetics, but the kind of prosthetics they've been smuggled in are special.
Okay.
In addition to the things that have been smuggled. So in 2007, a man was arrested in California having flown in from Fiji with not one, not two, but 3 rare iguanas smuggled in his prosthetic leg. Endangered, tiny iguanas. He has them in his leg.
That's those poor iguanas.
I know. In 2013, a woman was caught smuggling cocaine into a prison in a fake pregnancy belly, a prosthetic pregnancy belly. That's a lot of cocaine.
That's a lot of cocaine.
In 2014, a woman was caught smuggling heroin and painkillers in a prosthetic butt.
Wow.
So I can only guess it was like fake butt cheeks
and
to make your butt look better, I guess.
Okay.
In 2018, a prison worker who worked on the death row cells was caught smuggling meth in his leg, his prosthetic leg.
Just horrible.
And then, yeah, I mean, there's tons of drugs in legs and arms and everything. But man, the iguanas and the fake belly and the fake butt, I just think are impressive.
At this point in the episode, I'm wondering if they actually say Chinooks in the episode.
Man, did you go on about that in the mini episode? You're like, Chinook, 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 Chinook. I'm like, okay, 2 people are dead and they haven't even said the word. Why did he go off about that?
And then every scene from that point on.
Chinook, 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 Chinook.
Now, it's probably pronounced like this.
Chinook.
Now, I've seen some websites that say the British pronunciation is like they say it, which is Chinook. Like
Chinook.
Chinook. Where is your teacup? It's in the Chinook nook.
Chinook, nook, nook.
Where I heard the word originally is from my sister because it's a warm, wet wind that comes over the mountains in Alberta. Mm-hmm. That's what they call it. It's from a Native American tribe. And if you notice, all of the helicopters from a certain time period
are named after native terms.
Apaches and Chinooks and things like that.
Well, then I think however they say it is the right way to say it. How do they say it?
They say Chinook. Like,
then
you
that's
should
the right
say
way to say it.
Okay. Now, I didn't tell you the story. I made sure that it wasn't in the mini episode, and I'm 1,000% sure this happened, but it sounds incredible.
Okay.
And I'm not sure if I've ever told you this story.
Okay.
So I'm in 4th grade in Canada at school.
Okay. This is after you had the beard shaved and the maple dip and everything,
we're
right?
outside for lunch. Mm-hmm. We get an hour for lunch to run around.
Regardless of temperature, right?
Yeah. Oh,
it could be middle of
regardless
January. They put you outside.
And a Chinook helicopter landed in the schoolyard.
Why?
It had to make an emergency landing.
And so it chose the field where there are a bunch of kids running around?
Well, okay. It came in. I remember this so incredibly well. It held an impression on me.
I would.
It had to be 3rd or 4th grade. I know that for sure. So this would be 1974, 75, sometime around there. It hovered at first. And of course, the teachers were like, get into school right now.
We're being attacked.
Which must have been the most incredibly hard thing ever.
Oh, yeah, because the kids would be like, oh.
I know, I was like, that's a helicopter, it's going to land right there.
All the kids are frozen looking up with their jaws slack.
So the way the school was, we couldn't see it. And I remember.
So once you got inside, you couldn't see it anymore?
We couldn't see it, but we could open up the windows and hang out them. And I remember the teacher coming in, and there were kids lying on top of other kids, hanging out the window, looking at. And we were on the 2nd floor.
Now those windows wouldn't even open.
And of course, like, this is a military aircraft.
Yeah.
So it is making a sound louder than I've ever heard in my life.
Did it have big guns on it?
I do not know.
Okay. Was it camo?
It was green.
Okay.
It had the 2 rotors.
Okay.
It was definitely a troop mover.
Yeah.
Right? I could go to that field and show you where it landed. Right?
You and the UFO guy. Yeah. Right here, you see these scorch marks? That's from a Chinook.
And I'm gonna ask some people that I know on Facebook who went to school with me if they remember
See if
this,
they remember.
I definitely remember.
They were all sick that day.
So then they did the best thing ever, because like what I always imagine is what the teacher, principal, military conversation was like.
Because now as an adult, you can put yourself in their shoes and imagine how they were handling it. What are you doing landing here?
Well, the best part is somebody had to go to the office and tell the principal and say,
there's a Chinook.
There's a helicopter that's landing in the school here.
Yeah. Right now. No, I'm not kidding. Come on.
And it happened at recess. That's the crazy thing. So what they did was they brought the entire school out to sit around the front of the helicopter, and they took us through everything in it while they waited for the repair truck to come from Ottawa.
Oh, wow.
So we sat there and they told us about the rotors, and we got to ask any question. It is the most
That definitely happened. You remember that much. It definitely happened.
It is the most brilliant teaching moment that school ever made.
Yeah, because they knew nothing else was going to happen.
Nothing else was going to happen that day.
They could have tried math. It wasn't going to work. It'd be Chinook, 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 helicopter, helicopter.
And then we all, I remember we all moved back to, like, we had to stand right by the school, and then it took off. And it was so loud and made like so much wind.
I bet. That definitely happened. I bet you can find a newspaper article about it.
Crazy thing that happened to me.
If your newspaper had actually been a newspaper and not a double-sided A4 flyer that got distributed once a month or something.
I looked in the Carleton Place Canadian. I could not find it. But can you imagine the conversation in the pilots? Oh, we got to set it down. We're running out of fuel or something.
This is broken. We're going to crash if we don't land.
Yeah, if we don't land now, we need to look for a field. Oh, there's a big field. Oh my God, there's hundreds of kids in it.
They'll run away as we come down, I'm sure. They won't jump up and try to grab the blades. It'll be fine. They're kids. What do you think is going to happen? I'm surprised they didn't lean out with a bullhorn and go like, get away, kids, get away.
No, the teachers at that point, it was primary school. So there were teachers in the schoolyard.
Yeah, they didn't just abandon you during recess yet.
They were like,
run away now.
Into the school now. It wasn't, I think this is a time for a debate. No debatey time.
So we learn that the term used for someone who pretends to have military service who doesn't is Walt.
Yes.
Right?
For Walter Mitty.
Walter Mitty, which is a reference to The Secret Life of Walter Mitty. But I was like, I don't know. I mean, would people still be using that term? I mean, if we ask one of the kids, if I said Walter Mitty to them, they wouldn't know who we were talking about, right? No. So I wondered if the term was still around. Apparently it is. It's kind of been replaced with the term stolen valor.
Okay.
Because
that's what I'm more familiar with.
Because there's a book called Stolen Valor that's about that.
Yeah.
But I do think if you were talking to to a soldier like 40s and up and you said he's a Walt, I think in the UK they would know that's what you meant.
Yeah.
I went looking for people who have been Walts in history.
These people are both incredibly reprehensible and likely suffering from mental illness.
Yeah. I mean, whatever motivation they have for doing it,
yeah,
it's either that they are delusional and don't even know that they're faking it, or they're bad.
They want to be so respected. And
I think it could be in some cases. In the three I'm about to tell you, they're just assholes.
Okay.
These are not complicated cases.
Okay.
Did you know Brian Dennehy did this?
No.
The actor Brian Dennehy.
I didn't know that.
Who, if you've never heard of, you've definitely seen him and stuff.
He's a great actor.
But a bad person.
Oh, I didn't know he did this.
He claimed to have fought and been wounded in Vietnam. And he was in the Marines, but he never went to Vietnam and he was never wounded.
So, okay. I'm not giving him a pass because he probably used that to either extort money or
get girls
favors
or sympathy or
sympathy.
Benefits in some way. Yeah. Yeah. He was only in the Marines for 4 years and he never went to Vietnam. This guy you've never heard of, but the repercussions of what he did is extraordinary. So this guy's name is M. Larry Lawrence, and he was an American real estate developer who later became a U.S. ambassador to Switzerland. He claimed to have been a seaman first class in the Merchant Marines during World War II. And
so the Merchant Marines ran ships between...
They ran supply ships
between...
Allied forces.
In World War II.
And he also claimed to be a veteran of Arctic convoys that also did the same thing. Yeah. When he died, he was buried in Arlington National Cemetery, and Bill Clinton gave his eulogy. He was president at the time. A year later, they found out that he lied about all of that.
Wow.
They disinterred him.
Wow.
And buried him somewhere else.
They should have.
As they should have.
Yeah.
I never heard about somebody being disinterred from Arlington because they found out they were fake.
You've got to piss somebody off.
Yeah, because they're not letting it go.
No.
But the last one is my favorite.
Okay.
Joseph Mccarthy.
What?
Yes. McCarthy. He of the communist hunt, the blacklisting, ruining people's lives. He
of McCarthyism.
McCarthyism. Yeah.
Yes.
That Joseph McCarthy. He worked in a military office. He was in the military. He worked in an office for like a general. And his job was to type up commendation letters and for the general to sign and general correspondence. He was a secretary.
Yeah.
So while he had access to doing that, he wrote a letter for himself and slipped it in amongst a lot of other letters that this general was going to sign, giving himself a commendation for his war service.
Probably
that he
more money.
Never did.
Yeah.
Right? He also claimed to have broken his leg during an airplane crash during World War II, when in reality, he broke it drunk on a boat at sea when the soldiers were celebrating crossing the equator.
Wow.
And this is before he becomes Senator McCarthy and starts McCarthyism. He is a liar McLiarson.
That's what he is.
But man, if I had been called in front of that Senate hearing and McCarthy was like, "You're a communist."
Have you no sense of decency?
I'd be like,
no, you don't. He has no sense of decency.
Would have been like, dude, you are liar McLiarson. How's that leg doing?
Yeah.
You know, like,
how's your commendation? Liar McLiarson.
Like, you don't get to accuse me of anything, liar McLiarson face, McCarthy lie face. I just couldn't believe that. I was like, whoa, they disinterred that guy. They dug him right up and went, no, you don't get to be here because you are a liar. Is Barnaby mean to his dad?
I have a note. It's leftover clown trauma.
His dad wasn't around because he was off dancing, and when he did come home, he came home dressed as a clown.
It just felt right to say that. Barnaby is grumpy, but everything that Barnaby says about his father here, I could say about my father.
You could also say it about him.
And him.
How often does he leave the dinner table because he's got to go solve a crime?
No.
Betty is going to be saying, Dad, you weren't always there.
My dad was not a dancer or an actor or a vet in a series in the 1970s.
He was a lumberjack.
He was a lumberjack for a little while, but he worked on the railroad and he had to leave at all sorts of weird times. He had no regular hours.
And he couldn't control it.
He could not
So
control
he probably missed things that he wished he didn't. I think the difference is that Ned left voluntarily because there was something he wanted to go do. He didn't go for work. He went because of a hobby that he found more interesting at the time than his family. I felt like John was being unfair because, like, that's a long time ago. He's here now. Enjoy your time with your dad.
And they kind of justify it by having Ned criticize him a couple of times.
Yeah.
But not in any way that I don't criticize my children.
Well, and he doesn't do it first either.
Yeah, it's always in response.
Yeah.
And then they're like, we should watch movies. And I'm like, yes, you should, because I want to see what projector and film you use.
Watch those movies. Yeah, I mean, I guess I can say that John is a little mean, but it's out of a place of hurt. And I'm kind of glad he gets it off his chest. Yeah. But I'm also glad that Sarah is like, you know what? Maybe you could try a little.
I wasn't talking about your dad, and that gets him.
Yeah. Yeah. But at the end of the episode, Winter says, isn't Ray a little old to have daddy issues? Yeah. And I'm like, ring, 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 ring. It's the pot calling for Barnaby the kettle.
Yes.
You're a little old to still be having this grudge.
So now this man is the brother of Tom Barnaby's dad.
Yes.
Which we had hit the last episode had of Tom Barnaby is all about his dad and all about his dad passing. Mm-hmm. And so I wish there had been more of that brought up.
Yeah. I wish we knew a little bit more about their family.
Yeah.
About maybe the background of their dads and how they grew up.
Yeah.
Yeah. But
it all ends well. And he reads to Betty. Like,
he's a good grandpa.
He's a good grandpa.
So
I bet you he reads a mean bedtime story. I bet you that guy reads a mean bedtime story.
Though the relationship between John and Ned is a little tense, Christopher Timothy, who plays Ned, is an incredible actor. You've seen him in all kinds of things.
All Creatures Great and Small.
He was in 90 episodes of All Creatures Great and Small.
Wow.
This man, Christopher Timothy, as an actor, has commitment. Okay?
If you go back and watch, and Creatures Great and Small, really, that and Coronation Street carried British television through the late 70s. Because Doctor Who wasn't doing it then.
No, it wasn't a hit. Not then.
And the people that came out of All Creatures and Great and Small are all people that you know. You watch that show, it is all people you know.
Yeah, you've seen all of them much older in Midsomer.
Yeah.
So not only was he in 90 episodes of All Creatures Great and Small, he was in 128 episodes of EastEnders.
Wow.
He was in 955 episodes of Doctors, according to IMDb. I looked at the list, some of them, his character is referenced, so there's a photo of him or they're talking about him and they include that, but that's a dozen episodes. So Christopher Timothy was on all these great shows, but the gem among his credits.
The gem.
Is a Kaja Gugu music video.
Yes, he's in a Kaja Gugu music video.
Now, if you are as old as I am, you will remember Kaja Gugu as having one hit. The one I know is Too Shy.
They had a hit called Too Shy, and then Lamar, the lead singer of Kajagoogoo, had a hit for The Never Ending Story.
Yes, but that's separate. That's his solo record.
That's his solo record for the movie.
But Kajagoogoo.
Yes, I know the lead singer's name of
Too Shy, Hush Hush, IOI.
IOI.
Eye to Eye.
Yes, you're fantastic hair.
Too Shy. His hair is nothing compared to their bassist's hair, because when this music video, look it up. It's Kajagoogoo. It's on YouTube. The song is called Ooh to be Ah. OOH to be AH.
I'll put it in the show notes.
So Christopher Timothy, who plays Barnaby's dad, is a really good actor. I like the relationship they eventually have at the end of the episode that they're watching the movies. They're not holding hands. It's not like everything's all fixed. It's not fixed. But it's clear that they've gotten past some things.
And you forget as a parent that little things that you can do can make huge differences, but you get caught up in your day.
Both good and bad.
Yep, good and bad.
You don't know what's going to stick with your kid.
You don't.
I really like that Ned doesn't argue. He doesn't say, oh yeah, well I was doing this and I was doing that and you don't give me credit for that and I was out working 8 hours a day to, put money in the pocket or whatever. He's just like, it wasn't all bad, was it? I'll just get out of the, I'll just go upstairs. I'll go to bed. He's not going to fight with him.
That was some fantastic passive aggressiveness, by the way. I was like, oh, that's on the nose, because that's exactly what I'd say.
Yeah. But very well written.
Yeah.
Very well written.
And super active.
There's some horrible red herring side plots that don't need to be there in this episode, but that was really well done. However, let us talk about the denouement of the end of the episode and Ray's confession and how Jake is a horrible person who should go hang out with Joseph McCarthy.
Okay. Ray wins the dance competition
Yes.
with his new love, Rachel.
Yes.
This
who he
is-
understands and cares for and
This is
supports. And it's
his
the pinnacle
dad
of his life.
Claps. It is
Stands up.
Stands up.
Which is difficult for him,
Claps.
and claps. This is the key prideful moment of his life. This is everything he's ever wanted.
And Barnaby shows up and accuses Jake of what happened. And it comes out that Ray was manipulated.
I love the scene where Jake is like slowly backing out of the auditorium, like he's going to get away.
And
then
Winters is right there.
Winter just comes
Winter
up the
is right
stairs
there,
and like,
yeah.
he's like, damn it. Like, yeah, you're not going anywhere. Sorry.
Yeah.
I have a problem with this. I find it hard to accept that Ray, who is a gentle soul, he really is, would be willing to do this.
Okay.
Jake does not have that much power over him. I don't know. I really don't even understand why he's supposed to have done it.
So this solves everything, okay? You have Ray accidentally kill Rosa at the beginning, the way he does.
Yeah,
he scares her.
She
to
has a
death,
heart condition.
And
Yeah.
nobody knows about it. He basically scares her to death.
Yeah.
And Ray should be freaking out in the episode instead of teaching Barnaby to dance.
Yeah, after that, he should be a different person than he was before.
Yeah. And what he should do then is let Jake into the robot factory, and Jake should kill
Duncan.
That I would believe.
Yeah, if he helped him
By letting him into the factory.
or just stood aside.
Just stood aside or something.
That I can see, but I cannot see Ray killing Duncan.
Ray,
Cold-blooded. I just can't see it.
he's not going to do it.
No.
He's manipulated. And the other thing is Ray could not keep it together long enough that people wouldn't go, oh, you killed Rosa.
And this whole thing is because he doesn't want to endanger his Chinese light bulb deal,
Which, again,
which his dad is not impressed by in the first place.
yeah.
If his dad was like, oh my gosh, Ray, this is it. Our business was in trouble, but your Chinese light bulb deal is going to save everything. It's huge. I'm so proud of you. Then I could see him doing anything to make sure it didn't get messed up.
Or I've been embezzling money from the company to pay for my dance studio. Mm-hmm. It's not as successful as I said it was.
Yeah, and it's going to come out.
And that's going to come out.
And my dad only has a few years to live anyway, and I don't want him to find out before he dies.
Yeah.
So I need to keep it under wraps.
But still, that's not enough to kill two people.
No.
Especially Canadians. They're nice people.
Especially Duncan.
Yeah.
Rosa, maybe. Oops, I didn't know she had a heart condition. She didn't even know it.
Yep.
I dropped my mouth gel there. What?
Yeah. It's just,
The mouth gel I put on my feet?
I don't like the ending.
It's very well acted.
The ending makes you feel angry with Ray when you should feel sympathy for him.
Yeah. Oh, I'm plenty mad at Jake, though.
Oh, Jake
I want to shake Jake the whole scene.
Jake may be the most horrible human being that we've seen in a long time in Midsomer.
He's standing there knowing he's faking being in the military. He's lied. He's embezzled money from other women and used them. And now he's using Heather. And now everybody knows that, right?
Yep.
That's out in the open. He's clearly manipulated Ray. Basically, he has blood on his hands too. He is completely...
And he says, I don't know if he says it on camera or it's off camera. He goes, it was Ray's idea.
Yeah.
I'm like, okay, no one in this room thinks it was Ray's idea.
No, but like, he's not even perturbed by it. He's just like, I didn't do it.
Yeah.
You did it.
Yeah, he's completely psychopathic.
So what's he going to get charged with? What's Jake going to get charged with?
Conspiracy. This is why conspiracy to murder is a charge.
And fraud.
Yeah.
I think.
Yeah.
Probably because at least for the
I
other
don't
women
believe
in this
that
past,
Chinese
maybe.
light bulb deal is even real at this point in time.
You think Jake is manufacturing it for him
It could be.
to manipulate him?
You can't believe anything he says.
No, you can't.
So-
No. I think Heather's probably going to attack him with that robot arm.
Heather is
he'd
mighty
deserve it.
pissed at him.
Yeah.
And as she should be. And then you have the scene where the father says the thing. I'm probably not even going to remember I have a son.
Yeah.
And you're
Like, just when it's sad enough that this guy who just found his place in the world and finally has a dad who's proud of him has done this horrible thing that's just undoing the love that he's just found, the accomplishment he's just found, all of that is torn up. His sister's fiance is a psychopath. Then his dad's like, I probably won't even remember this.
And he hears
which is
that. Ray
even
hears
sadder.
That. Oh.
It's so sad. I'm so thankful for the scene at the end with Ned and John.
Yeah.
Because it means that you don't leave the episode just feeling awful.
Yeah.
Because until then, I'm like, wow, it's just bad.
And I don't know why they had to make Ray the killer.
Yeah.
He could have been manipulated.
Yeah.
It would have even been better where if Ray thought he was helping him and he realizes, no, I helped him kill 2 people.
Yeah, you tricked me. I didn't know I didn't know that that's what I was contributing to. Yeah. Like you stole my key to the robot factory.
Yeah.
And used it.
Yeah.
Yeah. Or I let you borrow it because I thought you were going to do something nice. And then you whacked Duncan on the head with a robot arm.
There's no I keep coming back to this point. There's no flashbacks because there's no way they could film that. It was believable.
Yeah. Meanwhile, Andrew is back at the mansion with his Uber joysticks going, I won't even remember this. I'm going to kill everybody from a distance. Flying the chopper around.
Yep.
That would have been awesome.
It would have been.
Okay, so best corpse. Nice corpse.
We don't really see Duncan's corpse, but the makeup job on the back of his head is pretty good.
That's some awesome strawberry jam.
That is some awesome.
I'm going with Duncan just for that reason.
Bamberry Bam.
It could be a mannequin. I don't care.
Yeah.
It's the glass splatter. Woo! Wow.
And okay, Rose is not a Canadian. Like the actress is not Canadian. Mm-hmm. And her Canadian accent, I don't know about it.
Well, he says project.
Yeah.
I'm like, oh, fake Canadian. He should have said project, but he's actually a real Canadian.
He's just been there too long.
He's been gotten.
Yep.
They got at him.
Yep. Okay.
So we're both going for Duncan for best corpse. Yes. Okay. After the credits, Heather is angry forever.
Wow. Is she ever going to trust another human being?
No.
I don't know.
Never mind. We haven't even spoken of the fact that though we don't find the relationship between Lily and Duncan realistic, every man Lily loves dies.
Yes. Every man.
Her husband is dying. Her boyfriend got his head smashed like a jelly donut.
Yeah.
She's just got sad. Tanya and her son, I don't know. Pseudo Iowati Warren.
Yes.
I don't understand their relationship anyway. I don't buy them being mother and son.
No,
she is so strong that I can't imagine her raising a kid who's
to be related.
No,
they have no scenes together. It just doesn't.
Hardly. No. Is Anton going to stick around? You think?
No, he's going to limp off into the distance.
He's going to go teach dancing on a cruise ship or something.
Well, and Tanya cleans up because now there's more students for her.
That's true, because the other dance studio is going to close.
And she gets to sleep every night. Jimjams.
Unless Rachel runs it.
Maybe.
I don't know. She could.
Do you think that she stays true for Ray? Because Ray's going to prison. Mm-hmm. Okay, Ray's going to prison. Mm-hmm. But he could probably get away with manslaughter on the first one. Mm-hmm. The second one, I got to think the jury's going to go, he couldn't have done that.
I think he's gone away for at least 25 years, even with UK prison terms. She's not sticking around for him. They just got together. They're not married.
I suppose.
She's not committed to him. They've said they love each other one time.
Jake better hope that the judge he gets doesn't have any military service or else he's in trouble there.
He should go away for just as long.
Yeah, absolutely.
For what he's done.
Maybe Warren and Heather will bond over the company.
Yeah.
And he won't download Soviet software anymore.
That is the point of balance.
We now have 9 episodes left.
Stop scaring me. What is our next episode? What is season 21, episode 2?
The Miniature Murders.
Oh, it's a good one.
The Bois Voisins.
I like this season a lot.
Okay.
I do. There are some critics online who are like, oh, season 21 has totally jumped the shark. What are they doing? I like season 21.
Now, Sting of Death is the low point of the episode, but it's still fun.
Oh, there's some good CG in that one, though, with the big honeycomb and everything. Yep. It's awesome.
And then Bated Breath is the one where Hendrix tweeted me that I said winters incorrectly.
Yes. Yes.
So is winter, because the mini episode for that is which winters is the fittest. Is winter the fittest?
Yeah. Yeah. So that was season 21, episode 1. Next week we'll have season 21, episode 2, The Miniature Murders.
Yes. Then the 16th, we will have Sting of Death, because that's after the busiest weekend. The next 2 weekends are crazy insane for us, but we're going to do episodes.
Oh, yeah.
But the weekend, the next weekend, I'm going to Columbus for another comic book convention. So then the last episode will come out on the 30th of May.
The last episode of May.
Yep.
But just like with episode 1, season 21, episode 2 also has a spoiler-free mini episode that you should listen to before you rewatch or watch it for the first time.
Yes.
And then you can meet us back here again next week.
And then in June, we will do season 22.
And then
the last season.
We will become...
Somebody on Facebook today said, I can't believe you guys have so many episodes. I'm like, dude, I cannot believe we.
Neither can we.
Let's do some simple math here. Okay. This is episode 123. And our episodes have between 11 and 14 pages of notes in my notes. So just doing that simple math of 123 times 11, I have over 1,300 pages of notes for this show.
Yeah.
It's 2 books worth.
Yeah.
Of notes about this show. And then never mind the fact that that's into the level of 200 hours.
That people have managed to listen to us and not go crazy. Anyway, until next time.
Bye, Maniacs.
Bye, Maniacs. A deer just walked by the window. Sorry. You don't even have to edit that out. It happens all the time here.
No.
They just look in the window like, what are you doing?